Welcome back, everybody, to the GGBL. Up on your screen is the game of the week that we streamed over on the other platform, and Michigan ended up getting another W here against Las Vegas. It was a good game all the way around, but in this one, guys, I want to give you guys kind of an update as far as the series goes. We've got upload schedule update, we got draft update, how that's going to work, plus standing and statistics for the month of May. So let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the standings here real quick. We'll start with the East. Michigan, like we saw, 8-game winning streak at one point. Now they've won 4 games in a row. They are 14-8 at home, 25-6 on the road. Insanity. Day games 22-3. That's ridiculous, right? So 17-11. If you get them at night, you might be able to knock them off a little bit. But Washington, 11.5 games back. They're 28-26. The AL East looks like a one-team race in case Michigan maybe falls off a little bit. I don't see how that's possible. They've got 250 runs scored and 152 runs against. So their pitching is really the name of the game right now. Look at that. The points against. XBA is talking to me here, but the runs against, man, 246. I mean, the next closest team is Pittsburgh with 200, but that's like 50. It's 48 runs a difference right there that they're giving up. So absolutely insane for the Mallards. The Breeze are 32-22. So between Michigan, Chicago, it seems like those two teams are no flukes. 2 months in, they've maintained. So it looks like they are legit squads here. The Cardinals at 28-26. So a lot of 500 type of baseball here between second place and fifth place between the East and the Central. And then we go to the West here. 31-25 are the Nuggets. Firebirds right behind them. The Hawks, the Spirit, and the Emeralds. The Emeralds are still struggling, man. Offensively, 197, and their pitching just has not really come to fruition, man. It's tough, man. They're fourth rated in team rankings, and they just, for whatever reason, cannot really get it together. So as far as the American League, which we are changing these, I forget what we're calling them. I think we said the All-Star League will be AL, and NL will be Naturals League. So that's what we're gonna go with. So AL, NL, you keep the letters in there, keep the abbreviations. I like it. Firebirds though, Swamp Monsters, Cardinals. So even though the 500 baseball is being played here, a lot of teams are in the thick of it, which will be fun if this kind of plays out towards the end of the season. That'll be fun to watch. But let's go to the National League. Yeah, baby, the good boys. 33-20. We're at the top of the NL East, the Naturals League, baby. 250 runs scored. So we have not had very good gameplay with runs scored. I don't know. The last game we had in our live stream was better, but that first game, it just sticks in my craw, man. 24 innings with scoreless baseball really set us behind, but we're coming out of that big time. So 250 runs scored leads the NL East. Runs scored against us, 199. So our pitching staff looked like it was going to be a weak point for us after the fantasy draft. So I think we've figured that out. I think our young pitching staff has really come together, so that's really cool to see. The Moonshots, though, are right with us. 2.5 games back. The Sting, 28-25. Blue Sox hanging in there, 26-27. And I think the NL East, anything can happen, right? So this 2.5 game lead with the good boys, I don't know. I feel like some crazy things can happen with this. I feel like each team in here is relatively close to one another. We've got some surprises here. I mean, we're 18th ranked. Moonshots are 6th. Blue Sox are 3rd. And just these teams are kind of underperforming. So I personally think that this is kind of a wild card division. So we'll see what happens in the long term. It's going to get kind of crazy in my opinion. So let's go to the NL Central. We got the Swing, the Hatters, Copperheads, Heat, and Maroons. So the Maroons are probably one of the worst teams in the GGBL right now for whatever reason. They're not scoring a lot of runs, 189, but the Swing aren't either. But you look at their stats, like runs scored, runs against, and their pitching staff's got to be insane. Their pitching staff has to be insane. They have a 2.98 ERA. That's tops in the NL Central. So Trevor Bauer's really helping these guys out here for the Swing. The Grizzlies 31-23. Knights are right behind them with a game back. Pioneers and Coyotes. Coyotes kind of playing a little underachieving there, but the defenders are 19 and 36. So that's probably the worst record in the entire league, I think. Right? So we got Maroons and defenders 19 and 36, and let's take a look at the American League here, or the All-Star League. We have the Spirit and the Emeralds 21 and 34. So we know now who the worst teams are, but I would not be surprised if those teams kind of figure it out and get it together here. So let's talk about the statistics. League leaders. We'll look at the American League first, and keep in mind, guys, I'm renaming the AL and the NL. So the new names will be All-Star League, so AL, All-Star League, and then National League will be Naturals League. I get it. I want to be a little bit more attuned to the actual letters, NL, AL, make it make sense. Don't have to like it, but it's just a little creative type of thing. All right, let's look at the AL, so the All-Star League. You got Bryce Harper at 369 to end the month of May. This is actually the season average, not the monthly average, but still hitting very, very well. Remember, Bryce Harper was in that 415 range, so he's had a little bit of a drop-off, right? But not much. Still hitting the cover off the baseball. Randy Arozarena, Winker, Mauer, Forsythe, Betts. So obviously the trend here is that we have a lot of major league type of experience here, major league talent that's continuing to hit really, really well, having really high batting averages against a lot of these minor league type of pitchers in the GGBL. Daniel Palka still hitting really well for the Mallards at 328. Willie Calhoun, more of that offensive guy, can't really do the whole fielding thing, so it's just going to be another a recurring situation that Seattle's just going to have to deal with. But a lot of Emeralds in this list and a lot of Michigan Mallards in this list, right? We got Palka, Bregman already up here. I believe somebody else is going to be showing up here pretty soon. We got Perdomo at 293. But outside of the 300 hitters, there is quite a bit of drop-off. So we see from 290, the drop-off is pretty steep, right? It's about 20 points in drop-off. We don't see a whole lot of that in the National League, or the Naturals League, as we'll talk about here in just a moment. But you guys can see the list here. We got some surprises like Alexander King, the rookie first baseman for the Swamp Monsters, still performing well over there for Washington, 325. But yeah, so your 300 hitters at the end of May will be as followed, with Carlos Correa and Pete Kozma hitting 300 on the dot. National League, we got Gregory Polanco, Wilmer Flores, Yelich, Arias, Beckham, Conforto. These are really the same guys that were up there last April. So still the same production here with these dudes, and they're still hitting very well. But you see, there's not as many 300 hitters in the Naturals League as there are in the All-Star League. So we got Darius Wilson here just hovering. The rookie, the young guy, the shortstop for us, is hovering at 300 at 298, Rizzo at 295, which pretty much means that this list, there's not as much drop-off. So we see a lot of 280s, a lot of 270s, right? A lot of 260s. Not a ton of drop-off here with the Naturals League as we saw with the All-Star League. But some surprising names here, like Demetrius Edwards-George. He's got 50-plus contact, 20-some power, 51 vision. He's still hitting very well, utilizing that speed. So hitting 283. I like what we're seeing out of Demetrius Edwards-George. Good boys, if you guys are following that team, the user team, Kyle Lewis up to 286. Gotta like to see that. Matt Olson. So these dudes that had experienced the 24-inning game of no offense, the first opening day game, and then not doing much in the month of April, have really kicked it into high gear in the month of May, jumping those batting averages upward. Hits leaders, I won't really cover too much here, but just to get a general idea, you got Basabe, you got obviously the batting average leaders here with a lot of hits. Hits are directly correlated to batting average, so that obviously makes sense with this list here. For the Naturals League, then the All-Star League, you have this list here. We got Freddie Freeman, Palka, King, Harper. It just makes sense. Doubles, looking at this really quickly. Don't want to focus too much on doubles. I'm more interested in those home runs and RBIs, but nice little list here for the AL. Geraldo is actually surprised at 65 overall. This guy has 15. Remember, he had an inside the park home run last week. National League, you got Andrew Vaughn at 15. Haven't seen a whole lot of Andrew Vaughn in our Nashville Heat game, so pretty interesting to see him produce in simulation. But Brian O'Grady having a nice season here with 14 doubles, and then there's Mark Cana with 13. Home runs, no surprise. Again, a lot of the major league talent players here with a lot of power. Brandon Lowe, Rosarena, Betts, Winker, Lindor, Judge, Harper. No surprise there, but Judge is actually starting to come out of that early season slump that we saw him in. The Naturals League, you've got Matt Olson hitting 19 home runs on the season. So again, he has really picked it up for Richmond, and he's now leading the NL in that category. But again, no surprises here with Myers, Polanco, Yelich, Castellanos. Again, just a lot of major league talent up at the very top of the list. But two custom players, Andrew Donovan and Javon Brown, are performing fairly well. The power numbers now with the batting average, as we see, 222 for Javon Brown. The last game that we saw him against the Blue Sox, he was hitting about 140. So he really wasn't doing a whole lot there with the batting average, but that is starting to climb up a little bit. Andrew Donovan with the last place team, he is seeing a huge bump in production, and at 222, again, the batting average still trying to climb up there, but the home run totals got a lot of them. I'm interested to watching those two players and see how they do for the rest of the year. RBI, sticking with the NL, we've got Matt Olson. You're going to lead the league in home runs. You're going to probably lead the league in RBIs. But again, we see just the usual suspects here, right? Beckham, Kim, Guzman, Myers, Polanco, Flores, Olson. Just, again, home run leaders, usually going to be around those RBI leaders. Bryce Harper, no surprise. Low, Betts, Nunez at 38, so he's starting to drive in more runs for the Firebirds. And then you got King, Longoria, Carlson, Freeman, Lindor, Rosarena, just usual suspects. But over here to stolen bases. Now, something interesting here. Keon Broxton and Malik Smith were like near the top, right? Malik Smith with 9 right now, so he's still in the single digits, while Keon Broxton has jumped up to double digits here at 16. Very interesting to look at that, because now that the Nuggets they lost that game against Michigan in the game of the week, but they liked to run in April, early in the spring. So with May, it didn't seem like they're moving a whole lot anymore. So very interesting to see that dynamic happening here, because I think Krenzel was up there, Malik Smith was up there, but now they're kind of nowhere to be found. So interesting dynamic there. But Keon Broxton with 16, Pompey 14, Garrett Mitchell with 12. Good little list there. NL, we got Jankowski, Tim LeCastro. Donovan's got that power-speed combo. That's a very interesting development there. So Andrew Donovan can hit the ball out of the ballpark. He can get singles, and when he does, he's going to get that extra base with his legs. So interesting little concept there. We've got D. Gordon, Edwards George with 10 stolen bases. So he's now up in the double digits. Pretty cool to see that. Flipping over here to the pitchers. Don't want to cover too much of the pitching. People like the long ball. People not totally interested in pitching numbers. But Trevor Bauer here with 8 wins. AJ Puckett with a 65 overall and D potential is pitching very well. He's got 7 wins on the season. Brady Singer, 6 wins on the season. But look at this. We got Clark Schmidt and Glenn Sparkman getting a lot of wins here for the good boys. So the pitching staff, like we thought, was going to be a little something to be worried about, proving out to be maybe not as much as a concern as we thought. American League, Dylan Peters out of the bullpen has 12 wins, so a lot of late wins by the Nuggets. That's crazy to me. But look at this. Sheffield, Aiken, the Mallards pitching staff, as we talked about before, really helping drive their success. The Breeze, we talked about this at length before. Their pitching staff is also driving their success. So the early going, I'm noticing that if you've got a nice 1, 2, 3, you're going to be right near the top of the GGBL for certain. So we look at the losses. Again, a lot of Mallards up here. Ali Finger with 0. You got Dubin, Castro at 1 loss each. But, losses are really hard to look at, because with pitching, it's more of a team loss than a pitcher loss, unless he absolutely really sucked that day. A lot of people in the sabermetrics community just don't really like to look at losses, but I'm just showing you guys just to kind of give you an idea of how the guy's actually pitching. But Trevor Bauer hasn't lost yet. I mean, most of these starting pitchers are relievers for their respective teams. Like Homer Bailey is a starter, but I believe Taylor Widener is a reliever. So yes, he is. So his game started at 0. So he has 26 games that he's appeared in, and he's got 6 wins. So a lot of late wins in the GGBL, and just kind of cool to see this dynamic play out. So let's move on to saves. We got Dominguez with 19, Brashear with 17, Butry 15. Just some names that pop out to me. Canley, James Karinchak, Ijaz Piasfew with 12. So good little list there. Let's go to the AL. We got Robert Stock, 22 saves. He has not blown a save. Oh, no, I'd take that back. He has blown 2 saves. Must have done that in the simulation, because in the actual live game, he was 12 for 12. So if you think about that, he had 10 extra saves, even more opportunities later on in the month. So to get some more saves. So pretty crazy that the Mallards are still continuing to win with that pitching staff. So we got Spencer Patton at 18 saves, Shane Green, Asuna. Yeah, it's just names that pop out. Let's go to ERA leaders. Keegan Aiken, 143. Sixto, 166. This guy loves to get the 6s inside his stats here. Syndergaard, 207. Stripling, 209. Low ERA, low whip, like I talked about. The guy is just good at that. Not going to have a whole lot of strikeouts. All right, let's look at his K per 9, 5.6. So loves to put the ball in play. But yeah, the guy he just knows how to pitch, man. I love Ross Stripling. He's always been that kind of guy. Solid guy. But look at the Michigan Mallards pitching staff, guys. Keegan Aiken, Ollie Finger, Justice Sheffield. There's got to be another guy up here. I have a feeling there's got to be another guy, right? Matt Manning at 3.46, right? I mean, those are acceptable. 3.4 would be acceptable. A lot of these are sterling, sparkling ERAs. I mean, when you've got Sheffield and Finger like getting up here with Syndergaard and Cole, and I mean, you've got something special working out there in Michigan. Let's go to the NL. We got Dakota Hudson still leading the way in ERA for the Blue Sox and the NL as a whole. Had that nice game, really nice game against Richmond, and still just maintaining that throughout the next 2 months of play. Torino still pitching well. Bauer, 164. Sparkman, 195. So he's really notched his ERA down for Richmond. He's really having a nice month. Singer at 203, like we talked about there, but pretty cool to see DeGrom actually get back into that top 10 list. He had a really rough April, rough first outing against New Orleans, but he's come back. But we see Gerald Cotton here at 211, Puckett with 244. So that nice little 1-2-3 for Dallas is really helping him. And then they even got Wade LeBlanc as the 4th guy, getting 254. So pretty nuts, man. So we'll see what Dallas has up their sleeves a little bit later on in this sim. Quick little look at the shutout leaders. We've got Singer with 1, Bauer with 1. Everybody's tied for 1. Looking over at the AL, we got Samardzija with 2. Sanchez and Fried with 1 each. So just kind of a little tidbit stat there to throw in. Look at strikeouts. We got Garrett Cole with 88. The next highest would be 77. Brian Sammons with 76. Brian Sammons is a relief pitcher. He's not starting for Oklahoma. Take a look at this. No games started. He's been in 35 games, 78 innings pitched, with 76 strikeouts. That's crazy to me. He gets basically a strike. He gets, what is that? A strikeout for every inning. That's pretty good, man. It's pretty solid, but there's your list for strikeout leaders in the AL. We got Rico Ramos here at 62. Let's go to the National League. Naturals League. I got to get used to saying that. But 85 for Bauer, 80 for DeGrom, Bieber, Darvish. Usual suspects, right? Nothing really here to really talk about there, because these guys are just strikeout pitchers, man. This is just what's to be expected. But one thing that stands out to me is you got the National League Central, or the Naturals League Central. Look at this. Swing, Hatters, and Maroons. And then we go out to the East with Darvish, West with Hancock, Santos, and then back here to the Central with Funkhauser. So pretty nice little spread there for strikeout leaders. Complete games, Gotta like seeing that. So I believe Chirinos is the only person on this list that did not throw a shutout complete game. So all these other guys did throw a shutout. AL, Samardzija has 2 complete games, 2 shutouts, and then we have Sanchez and Fried. Innings pitched, nothing there to talk about, but the whip, sub-1 whips. I mean, what are we talking about? Like, even like a 1-3 or a 1-2 whip would be acceptable. So you see this list here, these guys really pitching really, really well, but Sanchez, 0.88. Absolutely insane whips that are happening here in the GGBL. All right, guys, so that's actually going to be it for the statistics standings update. But I do want to let you guys know what I talked about on stream going forward about the draft, how that process is going to work, and again, how this upload schedule is going to work in the future, because I am noticing that the series is, we literally just started, but it is starting to die off a little bit. It's a little disappointing, but I do have to make some adjustments based on the level of interest in the series. It's unfortunate, but it just has to happen that way. I can't spin my wheels on something that's just not working for the rest of the community. So how we're going to work the upload schedule, we're going to show 1 episode per week, so real life week. Okay, so instead of 2, where we would show an entire month of gameplay, we're going to show 1 episode, probably going to be hovering around that 40 to 50 minute mark, maybe possibly even an hour, but it will provide timestamps for you guys to get to your teams if you want to watch those. But we will be showing some pretty cool matchups here throughout the month of GGBL action. So while we're going to show next week the month of June, we'll have 1 upload for the month of June, right? So when we go to July for next week, we'll have probably 2 episodes in that week, so regular gameplay plus the All-Star festivities, and then we'll show off the trade day. We'll have a voting process there to see how that works. I'll throw out some propositions for you guys to vote on, and then we'll go from there. But so really, when you look at this, we get 1 episode here for June, we get 2 episodes here for July, so we're up to 3. August would be 4. September and October will be 5. So we'll have 5 episodes, so that'll take 5 more weeks to get the entire season done. So we'll get the entire season done probably by the end of July, right? So then we'll do the playoffs. Won't talk to you guys about how the playoff format's going to work because that's just a little too much information right now, but that's how we're going to run this series for the future. And again, it's strictly because I have to do what I have to do with balancing time, effort, and ability to get you guys these videos posted. And it's hard when there's just not a lot of interest in the series. So that's not throwing shots at that's not throwing shots, that's just telling you what I have to do based on the feedback that I'm getting back here. So 1 episode per week instead of 2, 1 episode per week, and in that episode we're going to cover an entire month of gameplay. So I want to talk to you guys real quick about how the draft is going to work. So as you know, in MLB The Show, the draft day is in 1 day, right? So literally the draft is like on the 2nd of the 2nd of June. So as you guys know, you can't actually create a draft class. You can't create custom prospects. You can't create a draft class. You literally have to go in, you have to draft Arturo Rios, Leandro Ayala, Clarence Sweet. You got to draft all these guys first. You can sign your draft picks all the way up until the end of the regular season. So you can sign them to a contract, you sign them, you get them onto your team, but they don't actually show up on your roster until the off season. So they, even after you sign them, you could have the draft tomorrow, but they're not going to be here once you sign them yet. They'll be on your team in the off season. So what you can do is, like, once they're on your team, you can go in and you can edit them, right? So the name, the number, the appearance, the look, and everything. So that's how I'm going to do it. As far as the appearance goes, I think if I go to a guy like Trent Jambroni, so he's a real player, but he's fake in this game. So as you saw, I couldn't go in and edit Willie Calhoun's appearance because he is a major league player and he's a part of the default, the base game. So a guy like Trent Giambroni, I can go ahead and I can go in and I can edit the way that he looks. That way, when your player gets drafted and then he gets signed to a contract, the only way I can edit him is in the off season, right? So that's when you'll be able to start seeing your player in some action, right? Is once I'm able to sign them, edit them, and get them into their teams. So how is it going to work? How do you get drafted by a team? So basically how it works is that for patrons, 75 overall, a potential patron submissions, you get, that's part of the perks, you get your ability to say, Goldie, here's my top 5 teams. So for example, here's my top 5 teams that I want to get drafted by. I want the Nuggets, the Firebirds, the Hawks, the Spirit, or the Emeralds, just for an easy example. So you get drafted based on a wheel spin by the Hawks, right? So you listed, literally this is your top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Emeralds being the team that you least want to go to out of your favorite teams, right? So this would be your favorite teams list. You get drafted by the Hawks based on a wheel spin. The Hawks are then removed from round 1, and then I go to the next patron player. Let's say the next patron player has the Nuggets, Firebirds, Spirit, Emeralds, and Swamp Monsters, right? So Swamp Monsters would be 5, Emeralds 4, Spirit 3, Firebirds 2, Nuggets 1, right? Nuggets on the wheel spin, that player goes to the Nuggets. Next patron prospect, I go from there. I'm going to be starting that based on your overall rating. So I'm going to be like doing it as a trickle-down effect. I'm going to start with the patrons first and get those players selected. Then I'm going to go to the Fantasy Challenge winners, the 70 overall, A potential players, move on to those guys next. But those guys do not have the ability or the perk to select their top 5 teams. Everybody else, the weekly challenge winners and the open submission players, the 60 overall C potential guys, the guys that were picked by open submission, those players there are actually going to be selected randomly. So those dudes will all be based on wheel spin. I'm going to record the wheel spins. If you guys want to have that raw footage, if you want to see that as an unlisted video, I can supply you guys that so you know that there's no fudging going on. So I will be doing that as a screen capture or a screen record so you guys can be able to see like the true way that this draft was done. If you guys want that, I can provide you that. If you don't really care, it's no big deal. It's whatever. I'll just tell you guys, here's your draft results, here's who drafted you. But just to let you know how the draft process works, that's how it works. It's done based on all wheel spins and just random chance, but patrons do have the ability to let me know, here's my top 5 list of teams that I want to go to. So I don't want to go to, if I have these top 5 teams on my list here, I don't want to be stuck over here with the pizzazz, right? I don't want to go to New York. Whatever you do, Goldie, I don't want to go to New York. That's kind of how that works. But again, the only way to do it is in the off season, to edit your look, to edit your player. So you guys won't be able to see your player until we get through the playoffs. As unfortunate as that sounds, it's just the way that the show works, and I can't really do much after that. So that's how the draft works, guys. What I want to talk to you guys about next will be the June call-up day. And the reason why I'm going to do this as a call-up day on June 1st, every season, we'll have an opportunity for teams to reassess their major league roster. And I want to pick on Seattle here because there's a specific Discord prospect player here, Nolan Mitchell, who's playing really well down there in the AAA level, right? He's got a 3 ERA, 1.22. But we look at the pitching staff here for Seattle, and they've got Derek Rodriguez here, who's kind of struggling, 3-6, right? You got a 21-year-old sitting here with an A potential that could easily get the call-up over Rodriguez. You've got Bettinger, who's pitching well. Kraus is not pitching very decently at a 4.9, 1.4. Oswalt's kind of struggling. The purpose of the call-up day is because with 30 teams and only being one guy, and throwing in the fact that I don't want the CPU managing these rosters, because as we know, MLB The Show's CPU management of teams is very, very shaky. very, very bad. So I want to be in control of what teams are doing here, but I do want to throw you guys into like the crucial decisions based on free agency and trades. But throughout the season, I think I should be in control of the rosters, so therefore the CPU can't do anything stupid. So with June, we have a call-up day in the GGBL. So Nolan Mitchell will end up getting the call-up, but we have to figure out who we're going to call down. We got to figure out who we're going to send down to AAA. And basically how this works is that you look at each team, or I'll look at each team and I'll say, you know what, Nolan Mitchell playing well, he's going to get the call-up, but somebody from the pitching staff's got to get called down. Each team will have 2 opportunities to do that. So you have, like, I'm going to probably move on from Corey Oswald. He'll probably go down to AAA. He's got C potential, 68, 25 years old. Just seems like the likely candidate to get moved down. So I'll move Mitchell up. I'll move Oswald down. That'll be 1 move. I'll also look at the offense, right? I'll look in the offense and see, like, who's playing well, you know, who deserves a call up here. Does Sherton Apostle get the call, 248, 6 home runs, or does Casey Schmidt get the call up, right? 262, 7 home runs. So I'll look and see some of the offensive numbers here, like Jacob Amaya, you know, 282, 8 stolen bases. Does this team need a little outfield help in the defensive side of things? I think the outfield is probably the more likely. Like Jason Dominguez probably would be the guy that I call up. Look at the speed, look at the fielding, a lot better out there than some of these other guys like Willie Calhoun or Harold Ramirez. They need some help defensively. I think that would be probably the right move for Seattle. So those would probably be the 2 moves that I make for Seattle, and then they're done, right? You will also have an opportunity for each team to have those September call-ups as well. So really, you have June to get your call-ups. You got a month to see how they play. You basically have 2 months to see how they play. Then on trade day, that kind of gives teams an opportunity to showcase some of their talent, potential people that might be able to be on the trading block at that point. So again, I will throw out trade offers to you guys just like we did in the XBA. You guys will be able to vote on it, and if it passes, it passes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. The trade doesn't go through, so on and so forth. So we've played April, we've played May, that's 2 months. You got 2 months, and then you've got a call-up day. We'll do July, month, August, month, that's 2 months, and then you get your September call-ups, which would be another opportunity to get people called up and called down. So again, that just gives more teams and more players an opportunity to get up and strut their stuff and showcase their stuff, and that's just how that's going to work, guys. So that's really all I have for you in this little update video for the GGBL. I will see you guys in gameplay for the month of June. And I think I don't really have a matchups list for you guys quite yet. And because we're doing call-ups and because we're doing some shifting and changing of the upload schedule, there is not going to be a weekly fantasy challenge for this week of June. We'll return with the weekly challenge for July because we will have the All-Star break, and then we'll have trade deadline as well. So I do want to throw out some trade offers to you guys on the 31st. So how we're going to work this is that I'll show June's gameplay this week, and we'll get through June. And I want to show July's gameplay next week. But at the end of July's video, I want to throw you guys out the trade offers Google form, and I want you guys to be able to vote on that. I want to collect the data that you guys submit, and then I want to go into August after being able to process the trades that went through. So, lot to do. There's a lot to manage here with this series, but I appreciate you guys nonetheless. Leave a like if you like this thing. I will see you guys later on this week for June's gameplay. I'm going to try to fit every team in. I'm going to try to fit all 15 teams in and find 15 matchups that make sense. No guarantees that everybody gets in based on schedule, but I will try to find some interesting matchups for you guys to kind of chew on and have some fun with. So, guys, like I said, that's going to be it for this episode. Leave a like if you like this thing. I will catch you later on in the week and then next week for July. I'll see you in the next one. As always, thank you for watching, and peace.